Today I'm going to show you how to make this scarf necklace. This is a great concept and a real versatile piece. It can be worn, it has a magnetic clasp on it, which is great, easy to put on. So I could wear this single as a necklace, or I could wear it double and wrapped to keep my neck warm, and it looks great as a choker style as well. So this is an example of a finished piece. This has a couple pieces of chain, which gives it more of a jewelry feel to it, in the blues and the greens. Here's another great one. This has two different types of yarn in it. It's got what's called the eyelash type yarn along with the other yarn. The possibilities are just endless for the types of yarn. You can go to your craft store or fabric store. These are some samples that I picked up. And you want to, of course, go for the heavier yarn is the goal. Here's the eyelash yarn. Now this tends to be a little bit thinner, so it's best if this is mixed with a thicker yarn, complementary color. But, just endless possibilities. And it's a great versatile piece, great for gifts. So today we're going to make one with this brown yarn. And so what I've made here to assist me, I find the ideal length for this necklace, this scarf necklace, is about 30 inches. It doesn't have to be exact, but 30 inches allows you, and I've designed this real simple, just piece of wood here, put a nail at 30 inches on each end so you can wrap your yarn back and forth. And for this particular one, with this yarn thickness, which you can see, I found about 14 strands is ideal. So what I've done at this end is I went ahead and made a knot in the yarn to start. So basically we're just going to start wrapping back and forth. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to do 14 strands. So we've got one. So that ends up with 2 right there. Well, now we're up to, we've got 3. Let's see how many we have now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, we're at 14 strands right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut right here at the end. And now what I need to do is I need to make another knot here at this end, so we end up with one continuous loop. There's no particular way you have to do this. Just don't do the knot so tight that you can't get it off of the nail. What we're going to do is we're going to take off one end at a time off of our board. And so we're going to make our first end piece one at a time and leave the other end still on our nail on our board. So what I have here is just some silver tone wire, any silver wire that you get at crafts, a thinner gauge that you can get at a craft store or a hardware store. This is 24 gauge wire. I'm going to go ahead and cut a small piece, and that's going to be for one end. Now another thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and probably add one piece of chain to this. So we're going to use an approximate length of about 30 inches. You can add 2 pieces. For this particular sample, I'm only going to use 1. Any kind of silver tone chain will do. This is something you can get at a craft store, and certainly many different styles to choose from. So I'm going to estimate about this long, and for this particular one I'm going to do 1 strand. It's probably recommended to go ahead and do 2 and be the same procedure if you did 1 or 2 strands. So what I'm going to do now is I want to go ahead and start tying off this end. So what I'm going to do is make a little bit of a loop, and I'm going to go ahead and put the chain end through the loop, and then I want to put the yarn end through the loop. So now I've got both of these things through the loop, and I'm going to start twisting the wire so I can secure everything together. So now I've twisted the wire, I've got it through the ends of the yarn, I've got that end of the chain. So I've still got this end of the chain loose and the other end of the yarn secured to the board. So I've got a little bit of excess wire here. I'm going to go ahead and clip that off. And what I'm going to do now is put an end cap to cover up this piece to finish off the end. These end caps, these are some ones that you can get at a craft store. They're just nickel, silver plated end caps. There's come in several different sizes, so depending on the size that you get and the opening that you get will determine the number of strands that you can put inside that end cap and the number of strands you use to make your necklace. Then for my clasp, as I said, I like to use these magnetic clasps. So this is a small silver plated magnetic clasp. These again can be bought at a craft store. They come in different sizes and shapes. Some come with jump rings attached to the end. If they don't have a jump ring attached to the end, these little circles are the jump rings. You can also get those at a craft store and attach them to each end. So we'll go ahead and put 1 cone on the end and half of our clasp. So as you can see, I have my wire, I have my loop, and I twisted it. I'm going to put it through the end cap and slide it over the end. So you can see how this is now covering up everything. Then what I want to do is make a loop with my wire sticking out here so I can attach it, my clasp. So I made a circle close to the top of where the wire is sticking out. Slide this half of the cap over. And now I have my clasp, half of my clasp, and my end cap there. And I'm going to clip off the excess wire. And if there's a little piece of wire sticking out there, you can use pliers to push it down. Now I'm using some jewelry pliers, which can also be purchased at any craft store. I've got my cutters here. I've got my little round pliers, which I use to round my wire. And I've got my regular flat pliers. And these can be bought very inexpensively at craft stores. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start on our other end, which is pretty much the same process. So what we want to do is take this end off of the nail. Now this end is a little bit more tricky because we have on here the loops that we made around our nail. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this knot off and put that through my wire. And on this knot you can see I have a little bit of tail hanging off there, so we're just going to clip that off. So I've got this strand of yarn and I've got my chain ready to go. So then I'm going to start sliding off my additional strands. Here's my beginning knot. Take that off. And I'm going to take these. And now I have my other end of my strand and my chain. And you can see that looks very nice. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing And we'll start twisting and twisting the wire. So we've got that very secure now. And again, any kind of craft nickel wire works great. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our wire through our end cap to hide our little knot there. We're going to go ahead and start a loop on the top of our end cap for our clasp. And then this will be the other end of our clasp going through. There's our loop started, and we're going to just wrap the wire around the top of the end cap. And we'll cut this off and just pinch in the end of the wire. And there we have our scarf necklace. I think they look nice when they're twisted. And again, 2 or 3 pieces of chain makes a big difference. It gives a little bit of pop and a little bit of sparkle. But there we have our brown version.